Okay. Talking about contributions and blending ICT into the learning environment, where do we start? If we're to think of this as a traditional blender or, you know, like an apotoyewa sort of a blending dish, what would you put in first? And where would you start? At the preschool level, at the tertiary level? Where? Private sector, public sector?
You know, again, I don't think I think it's to start in a number of different places at the same time. It can't wait. You can't wait until they get to college. There are a lot of people who say, well, we need to wait till, let's focus on the high school students first. But in a sense, we really need to start both at the bottom and at the top and sort of work towards the middle. And by doing that, using both resources, bringing in resources like open content and free content, and then also preparing teachers. I mean, obviously,
open content, free content, preparing teachers. What about providing the hardware? That's a major challenge for lower income countries. Here in West Africa, only 5% of our young people manage to get into tertiary education, and not everyone in that 5% has a laptop. In fact, the gap is so great that there's even a gender gap there, which has prompted an ICT for Girls project at the public policy level.
I've actually run some ICT for Girls projects in America as well, because that was initially that was a population that was underrepresented in ICT, but now it's actually starting to turn, and males are now becoming underrepresented, believe it or not. So I think, you know, the challenge is to start to think about new models. So in the old model was we would put a computer lab in the school, and we'd bring the class to the computer lab once a day, once a week. What the new model is, break down the computer lab, distribute it around the school, put 2 computers in a classroom, let the students bring their own devices, right? And don't think of, not everyone will need a desktop computer. So we look at desktop computers now in America and we're saying, you know, the desktop computer is like a truck, and we need certain types of trucks. So if we're doing high-end video editing and 3D graphics, we need a desktop computer for the speed. But if we're just accessing an ebook, or if we're doing math exercises, we could use a tablet for that. And a tablet's going to cost $200 versus a desktop computer, which will cost $1,000.
Oh, you're going to be amazed at who's joining our conversation online. Kwame Bolton. Now, he has officially, you know, IT computer whiz kid status. I mean, this man designed software at the age of 13 or 14 that was so well appreciated by the government of the UK that they bought it off and made him an instant millionaire before his 18th birthday. David Kwame Bolton saying, Eric is 100% right. I never attended any class on IT.
Right. And
look how far I managed to go. It's all about passion to attain your dreams. Felix I is talking about, well, everyone can have a mobile phone, and can they all have a smartphone? And what about those dumb batteries? Talking about batteries that run out much quicker than the phone does. Nafiatou Sulemana says the teaching of ICT in Ghanaian schools is really poor. It needs a major step up. And Yashiti Hammond says, wow, I like this and I want to be a part of it. Talking about teaching the teachers, or giving clues or some general knowledge to teachers to allow them to blend ICT into their service delivery. What do you think can be done? What are some of the simple things that teachers can do to use what they have already, their cell phones and their laptops, to help them to teach?
I'll tell you what made a difference for me. In 1995, a student came into my classroom and he said, you know, Mr. Mino, he was the assistant editor to the school newspaper. I was the newspaper advisor. We were still printing a newspaper at that time. He said, Mr. Mino, we could put the newspaper on my website and it would be online. And I had no idea what he meant. And I said, you know, the idea sounded interesting. I said, let's do it. And so the student introduced me to the technology. That student today works for Google, YouTube, and the intellectual property team. Okay, I visited him last year at Google's headquarters in Mountain View. He's brilliant. He's 29 years old. He has a master's degree in computer science and international relations. All right, his master's thesis was on Nigerian email scamming. He visited Nigeria and actually interviewed 65.
He's got a master's in.
He's got a master's
in online 419, online fraud.
Yes, he did his master's thesis on online fraud. He went to Nigeria and he actually interviewed 65 email scammers in Nigeria as part of his thesis. So this was a student who introduced me to the internet. Teachers have to embrace the knowledge that students are bringing to the
Did he
classroom.
pass on some skills?
Yes, he did. We learned together. That was part of the secret. I think your commenter who talked about his learning on his own,
Yes.
that is becoming a very common affair. And what we're talking about, students should not have to turn off when they come to school. Turn off their device. That's what that people are making, schools are making students turn off and disconnect. What we're saying is no, we need to leverage the passion they have for the digital technology that they're embracing, that they're growing up with. Someone was telling me a story of a 2-year-old using an iPhone here in Ghana. I've seen that in America. On Monday at the seminar, I'm going to show a video of an 18-month-old child who cannot speak full sentences, but can use an iPhone.
Can use an iPhone. Interesting.
Okay.
There's one other thing that David Commoner Bolton told me about, and that is that the computers, the total computing power of NASA that was used to launch the Apollo space mission to the moon was by far less than what we have in our average cell phone these days. But we still don't use them for anything as impressive or even half as impressive. How do you change that culture from making this into a consumer toy, making it into a prosperity tool?
Well, it's pretty amazing. When you think about it, you have that, I have my iPhone 5. This is a supercomputer by the standards of even 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The standards of the power of a computer 5 or 10 years ago. This is a supercomputer. And that was the brilliance of Steve Jobs' vision for the iPhone. It wasn't just a phone, but it was a supercomputer in your pocket. And what we need to do, what I think the challenge for education, the challenges for teachers and educators is to show and to demonstrate how we use these devices for learning and how we use these devices not just for learning, but for developing skills and creativity. And so, many students who are interested in entertainment and in consuming media can become producers of media, right? So even using popular platforms like YouTube and YouTube channels, everyone can have a YouTube channel for free. The barriers are extremely low. There's nothing that to stop any one of us today from going on YouTube, creating our own channel, and having our own media
Okay,
empire.
here's Samuel Barfoot joining us, saying it's a taboo in Ghana to send a laptop to school. I won't say where I heard this phrase, but a headmistress told me that it's an abomination to have laptops in the hands of students once. Samuel Barfoot thinks it's because Ghana hates practical things. And I wanted to ask you what your greatest challenge has been. I see from your background that you've had years and years of experience, decades. You've raised tens of millions of dollars for this purpose and in connection with this. What has your greatest challenge been in North America?
The greatest challenge is definitely changing the system.
Changing the system in what way?
Changing the system. So basically, and I think we can say the same in Ghana, we have a system in America of education that was designed 120 years ago. That system is not fundamentally changed in 120 years. So it's not that the system is broken. People keep trying to fix the system and trying to implement new ideas, new technology into a system that was never designed to accept it. So the biggest challenge is reimagining the system. And that's happening today in America. One of the biggest examples, I'll talk about this at the seminar, is what's called MOOCs. Have you heard that term?
MOOCs.
MOOCs.
Yes, I have.
MOOC. Massively open online courses.
Massively open online courses.
Online
like
courses.
what MIT does. They
MIT
put all their course
and
content
Harvard,
at
yes.
Harvard online, and it's freely available.
It's freely available.
But hardly anyone knows.
Well, in America, they are starting to know because this past week, a big platform, one of the platforms is Coursera, is the name of the platform, and they just announced a partnership with 4 state universities, where the state universities are going to start delivering the introductory level tertiary courses for free online. And then eventually those students who begin those courses for free will be able to graduate with a degree at substantially lower cost and shorter time. So that is changing the system of higher education in America. 2 years ago, they didn't exist. No one knew what a MOOC was. Now, a day doesn't go by where it's not in the news, it's not being talked about, and it's not being railed against by those who think we should not be doing that. There are many who still believe, and they're entitled to believe that the best way to learn is sitting in a classroom in front of a teacher. That's changing.
Well, for those of you who've been asking for Michael Mino's contact details, I've got quite a few. You can catch him on Twitter. He's got a Twitter handle at Innovator, Innovator, spell innovator, that's with 2 N's, Innovator. You can go to his website, michaelmino.com, Michael Mino, M-I-N-O, one word, michaelmino.com, or you can send him an email, mm@michaelmino.com. And this seminar that you keep mentioning, where is it taking place? Where can people meet you physically for those who don't have an internet connection?
So on Monday morning at 9 a.m. we'll be at the Golden Tulip here in Accra. We'll be presenting a day-long seminar entitled 21st Century Learning Environments. It's produced by our local agent, JB Max Company, James Kwame. And we have a website people can go to visit. It's Ghana Ed 21. So Ghana Ed, ED 21. So Ghana Education for the 21st Century is the seminar series, and we hope it's going to be the first of many that we'll be doing. And we'll be talking about 21st century learning environments. We'll be sharing resources. We'll be having some other representatives. We expect to have a couple of other education representatives there who will be doing sharing some ideas as well. And I'll be sharing some free and open resources. I want to emphasize that. I think that is the biggest advantage today. Free and open resources.
Ooh, that's
you don't have to have money in your pocket today to access what's available for free, and even offline. I'm going to be sharing things that can be used offline.
Okay, very good question. Not all Ghanaians can buy one of those iPhones, so how can we get one of the phones to develop our technology skills? Most Ghanaians use very cheap phones, and this will be my last question to you. What do you think our advantages, if we have any, in this regard? Do we have an advantage in our environment in Ghana over North America, over America? What's our advantage?
You definitely have the advantage. I see it every day when I'm at the street corner and we're surrounded by hawkers on the street. Your people are hungry for opportunity. They're hungry for advancement. In America, I'd say, many students are complacent. Many students have grown up with so much, they think it came easy. They didn't see their parents who worked hard to get where they are. And so they're complacent. Where I see here is people are working hard to get ahead, and the youth will work harder. They can adapt to things, I think, that are emerging much more quickly and easily. And so I think, for this viewer, for the comment regarding, yes, I know you can't afford an iPhone, but you know what? The software to develop iPhone apps is free. The software development kit for Android apps, it's free. It's available online. There are a number of different applications that are freely available. I'll be sharing some on Monday that can be used to develop software and to learn that technology.
Thank you very much. I've been talking to Michael Mino, and I want to thank everyone who's contributed to the dialogue. Very good morning to David Ampofo. I hope you're watching and that you were inspired to share some more ICT hardware and software to anyone that is within your consideration. Tobe Ghana says we need Michael Mino's phone number in Ghana. Hey, Tobe. And Felix I also, Eric, if those in offices who don't know how to turn on a PC, well, they should retire so the young fellas can build up. Nia Shete Hammond asking if the seminar will be free. You'll have to direct that question to Michael Mino online. Send him an email, mm@michaelmino.com. Log on to his website, www.michaelmino.com. Or if you're on Twitter, his handle is at